Hello ladies, blokes and non-binary folks, it's Ant here. Now normally you'd be getting a gameplay video on a Saturday, but I've been working non-stop and I'm up early in the morning and I need to put something else up because YouTube complains if I don't put anything up. So me and Kev have been talking for a while about having like a little sci-fi like chat thing where we just chat about a sci-fi show or a film or something. And we kind of were already doing that over on the old channel we used to have, reacting Sentai Yopparainger, which some of you may know got copyright struck into oblivion by Toei last year. It was all going lovely and then just completely obliterated in one night. So what I'm doing is I'm posting this video today, which is us chatting about the first few episodes of Season 2 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So it's Tokusatsu, but as I said, it's for the other channel originally. And so I thought we'd post that, and then if you guys think that's kind of alright, just us sitting and chatting about sci-fi nerd stuff, whenever me and Kev get together, we may very well just record more of that. We might sit down and record it, because the thing is, this video, we had some really flashy cameras to record with. Kev's got some he's got a Blackmagic camera, so we used the Blackmagic camera to record with, which, if you know your cameras, that's quite overkill to talk about Power Rangers. So we did that, and it was nice, and we had proper lights and everything, and we all set it all up and had a chat, and we had a little microphone with the directional mic and everything. It was really nicely done. But it lived for about 1 week on the other YouTube channel and got, struck out to oblivion. Toei literally struck 30 odd videos. All gone. So yeah, so have a watch of this. Tell us what you think. And, if you think we should probably do more like this, then let me know, because we're planning to hang out again in a couple of months, me and Kev. So, yeah, I'll catch you later. I've got to take photos of some Transformers with hats on their head. That's another thing I have to do tonight, because scheduling and stuff, it's a nightmare. Yeah. I'll catch you later. Bye. Well, not bye, because the video's about to start. You know what I mean? We bye at the end of the video. Just don't move. I'm going. You're staying.
Camera rolling, and I'm going to sync us the Yoppareview.
Have you not got a clapper board?
Yeah. You should get that. Okay.
I should have clapped at the same time, then have to figure out which one of the claps is mine.
Right, dude. You do your intro to the camera if you want. I'm just your pal here along for the ride.
Hello, everyone. We are gathered here today for the first ever Yoppareview.
Yes.
In person.
Exactly. It's a special occasion as well because it's a reunitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're reunited after a year and a half of COVID. COVID 64. Now here we are together. Anthony's visiting Scotland once again.
I was just checking if you were drinking Corona.
No, not this time.
No, not this time. No.
Anthony's visiting Scotland. We've got a mandatory quarantine policy on the flat, so he's been indoors in the bedroom, locked away for.
I stayed in the cupboard for 2 weeks.
Yeah, for 2 weeks. We rubbed him down with the sterilisation gel, and he's ready. Here he is, fresh face and ready to go, like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, I've missed the last 2 weeks then.
Yeah.
Oh,
did, yeah.
What's happened in the last 2 weeks?
All the good stuff happened.
Oh, did Brexit finally happen?
Not yet, no. So
anyway, what are we talking about?
We're talking about Power Rangers. Two middle-aged men talking about Power Rangers on the internet.
That's our midlife crisis.
The reason behind this, it was so Power Rangers. I felt I was a bit too old to be watching it at the time, but I watched it anyway. Wasn't quite a teenager.
Yeah, because we were losers.
Yeah, we were on the cusp of being teenagers, so maybe a little bit too old to be watching at the time. But there's always one episode or series of episodes that seemed significant because it changed things, and that was the Mutiny at the start of season 2 of Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Do you want to give us a rundown of what happened?
It's the start of season 2. It's where in universe a new villain is showing up. Power Rangers is making some steps. No longer relying as much on the Zyuranger footage, which we didn't know about at the time, because we just noticed that all the Super Sentai, Ranger footage looked a bit worse. We didn't know it actually came from another show entirely. But they introduced us to Lord Zed, who is possibly one of the greatest designed villains of all time.
He's fantastic.
I've said many a time, he's up there with Megatron and Skeletor in terms of an iconic villain look. But also what the real world scenarios behind the scenes is it's Saban having to reckon with that they don't want to keep paying Toei to film new Zyuranger footage just for them. So they have to start finding a way to move into the Dairanger footage, which they barely used. And part of that was introducing an entirely new villain, which was...
Yeah, to make it all fit together. And the upshot of that, while it was accidental, is that we had a TV show, a children's TV show, an action show with special effects, where we actually got change.
Yeah.
Which we weren't used to. Yeah. The illusion of change. It was all superficial, yeah. But we got a TV show where things to change, the aesthetic changed. It was a big step away, and you don't usually get that. You usually get, you have your same vehicles, your same ship, day in, day out. It's always the same and it never changes, but Power Rangers
65
did change
episodes
things.
in the original series?
Yeah, and it felt like a long time back then. It was running for a year or more over here.
Yeah.
We just episode after episode.
We had
after
episodes
episode.
every day, though. We got it...
we got every Saturday.
Yeah. No, we had... There was... I can't know if it was during the weekdays or not. We had multiple episodes a week.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But the point is, so we did get legitimate change in a kids' TV show. And it was, and I suppose the question here, after rewatching it again just to review it, that three-part is, was the change, were the episodes worthy of that change? Did they justify it?
Yeah, and
in terms of story?
And would it maybe have been easier just to change all the Power Rangers costumes and actually embrace the Dairanger footage, maybe?
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah,
it probably would have been. Yeah,
but toys,
they were. That's the weird thing because we'll get into the actual episode soon. But the weird thing is even though toy franchises are built around refreshing the line every year, they were actually worried that if they changed the Power Ranger costumes too much, it would put kids off the toys and they wouldn't recognise it as Power Rangers. And the thing is, the Dairanger costumes are very different.
Yes.
Like if this had been Zyuranger to what was like Go-Go 5, Lightspeed Rescue, that wouldn't have been as much of a difference because you've just got geometric shapes still on the costume and stuff like that. But Dairanger's costumes are identifiably Chinese.
I think what it was, it probably harks back to the thing we were just saying at the intro, is that we weren't used to change in TV shows. The status quo was always there.
I don't know, I was a Transformers fan.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years into Transformers, they kill the main characters off in a movie.
But I wasn't. So I didn't see change. And maybe that was it. Maybe the kids, they thought, they're used to TV shows being... They're used to the Turtles always looking the same, the Ghostbusters always looking the same, the gear always looking the same.
To be honest, if you go back a few years, it could have been the G.I. Joe Transformers incident that it discouraged them from changing too much.
Right.
Because what happened, they released G.I. Joe the movie in the cinemas. They released Transformers the movie in the cinemas. Optimus Prime gets killed. Kids around the nation cry. Hasbro panics like crazy and tacks on in the international release Optimus Prime will return. Okay. And then the G.I. Joe movie was going to kill a main character off as well. Yeah. And at the end he wakes up from a coma. No. Yeah, they had just enough time to change the brakes on. So that probably made toy companies hesitant to change too much because you don't want to kill off or remove the iconic characters. Yeah. But they do yeet Bandora into space, Rita Repulsar into space.
Anyway, we're digesting a little bit here. Let's start off with just like part one and just talk about what maybe happened and how how dramatic it's and try and just relive that drama we felt when we first saw it.
Well, we start off with the Rangers doing what the Rangers do best, which is taking part in yet another activity. They have a lot of hobbies, endless hobbies.
They do, yeah.
When did they get their ATV?
Why are high school kids driving around quad bikes in a race? Yeah.
What even was the race for? It was just...
I guess it was for charity. Does he not? No, maybe charity. I don't know. It was a fundraiser. I'm sure it was a fundraiser.
Maybe, yeah. But they're doing that, and then what happens?
So, meanwhile, on the moon, Rita Repulsa's base is rocked by thunder and lightning, and all of a sudden everyone knows that Lord Zed's returned. We'd never heard of Lord Zed before, but we now know he's returning. It's a big deal, and Goldar's amazing in this episode because immediately, as soon as he realises that, what does he do? He sells out, and he's like, "Right, Rita, I'm done. My Lord's back. See ya."
And he goes to the Lord Zed room. That was always out the back
of the van. Oh, we must be in his room. What? Yeah, it's fantastic. The whole Goldar Lord Zed exchange is brilliant. It's Zed at his best. So, yeah.
I got such a headache. Deal with it. I'm going to meet my emperor. Hey, wait for me!
He's played by Rob Axelrod. He's dead now.
I know.
Like
what a funny guy. Well, just funny.
He's a great voice. That must have done his throat in. That must have been horrible to do all day.
Meanwhile, anyway, on the Earth, the kids, as they're doing their quad biking, they get an earthquake as well and realise something's not quite right, but they carry on a little bit. And back in space or on the moon, we meet Lord Zed. Goldar and just immediately pledges his allegiance to him.
Yeah.
And Zed delivers another great line, which I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, Goldar, the snivelling one.
Yeah. I'm sure your cowardice and snivelling will be useful to me or something.
Yeah, and then Goldar's like, yes,
Lord Zed. And he returns what was lost from him before he gets his wings back.
That exchange is marvellous.
I am Lord Zed. Identify yourself. Excellency, surely you remember me. Goldar, your faithful servant. Ah, yes, Goldar, the groveling one. I surrender myself to serve and obey you only. It is good to have you back, Lord Zed. Your spineless, sniveling attitude leads me to believe you will serve me well.
Yeah.
So immediately Rita's out of the picture.
Yeah.
And then Zordon
Is it the first part where he actually gets rid of Rita, or is it still...
I think it's a bit later on, isn't it? The second part, maybe. But yeah, back to the first bit. Zordon then called the kids to the command centre and said, I think Lord Zed's returned, and you are in the shit. And sure as anything, Lord Zed creates a new monster that is able to disable the Power Rangers Zords. At this stage, we are still used to the status quo, things don't change, so... We saw the Zords getting frozen and taken over and stuff, and that was just part of the course. They were going to find a way out of this one.
Yeah.
Weren't they?
The monster's called Piranha Shed.
I thought it was Piranha's head.
Piranha Shed.
Piranha's Shed, is it?
Yeah, Piranha Shed, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Part fish, part shed. Yeah. And he can freeze things. He does a little doodly-doo when he does it.
Kind of like a little fish flute.
Yeah, he goes like that.
Yeah.
Buttery. You're not going to know that reference because you never watched Power Rangers SPD.
I don't watch. I always go from what I remember from when I was little, which was the first 3 seasons of Power Rangers. I try, man. I try.
Oh,
but let's talk about this. This as a drama for teenagers and children does really well. It has stakes to it.
Yeah.
And they keep running into problems when they're trying to do something, and every time they think they're on top of the situation, there's a barrier, an obstacle comes their way, and the Power Rangers are constantly on the back foot for the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, they get their butts kicked a bunch. And
there's a new bunch of the minions that they have to fight, and
I continually argue that these upgraded putties aren't an upgrade.
Yeah.
Right.
But at least we see the Power Rangers struggle in those episodes. Yeah. They are struggling to hold that.
They're tougher, but they've got a massive target on the putty's chest that makes them explode. They're like crash test dummies. Like that's what they.
And that was there was a lot of self-awareness there and joking because in the command center later, Kimberly's like, oh yeah, it was so lucky we found their weak spot or something like that. It's like they knew they were just. It's a kid's thing.
Was there a putty toy that exploded when he hit his chest?
I can't remember. Probably it sounds like
crash test dummies were a thing then. It would have been really easy to do. Like
so, at that stage, Dragonzord gets taken over. Tyrannosaurus Rex Zord gets taken over. The 2 main Zords and the rest are frozen.
No, they've established that Tommy, his Green Ranger powers are fading.
Yeah, waning as well.
Yeah,
things aren't looking good.
Something being set up for later. That his powers are going to fade because they just dragged out him for ages, didn't they, in the previous series?
Well, moving on with this story, I can't remember because I watched it as a like a TV movie. It was edited together on ITV or whatever it was. So moving on with the story, then Zordon reveals that these Lord Zed's too powerful. It's all too much, and they're going to need to upgrade the Zords or get new Zords.
Yeah.
But they have to basically use the material or whatever the power from them.
Even though they show the Zords, but is it like visions?
It's meant to be metaphorical, I think. It's meant to be symbolic. It's like this is. I don't think it's meant to be that they're ready. Anyway, he's got to fix these new Zords up, and they need the old ones to get them back. So Billy, the scientist, genius, nerd loser, and his girlfriend Trini decide to... She's
not his girlfriend because she survives the show.
He smiles at her at one point.
So she survives.
They smile at each other at one point.
Yeah.
So they decide they come up with a way of jamming the signal to reclaim the old Zords and get them back.
And it doesn't work at first. Why doesn't it work?
Because he sticks the battery in the wrong way. Silly Billy.
He's a silly Billy. The batteries that say power on them in big letters. And the prop that's like a different shape in the Zoo Ranger footage they shot.
Yeah, because they built it separately.
Yeah, well, it was shot for this. That footage is stuff that they
but they built the box and the prop elsewhere and clearly didn't have any photo references. Yeah.
They probably just sent them a drawing and they went, "Oh, that'll do."
Mm.
It was a Stonehenge incident, isn't it? They drew the little Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Just the Power Rangers one comes out like massive.
So yeah, we're going into just where the episode does fall apart a little bit, which is we think the final sort of act.
Mm.
So we had a really great build up of stakes and then obstacles and barriers.
The Vulcan skull gets sent on a
there's a comic
they get
the usual comedy
vehicles taken
side thread
over.
thingy. But the third episode seems to get a bit lost. It's like they weren't sure what to do. It's not that I because we had this conversation before where Anthony felt it didn't need the third part. I felt it needed the third part, and by them not knowing what to do with it, they couldn't think of a good way of carrying on. But there was space for a third part, I think. But instead, we just got a series of things happening, didn't we?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I said. The third part is
which
just building up to them summoning the Zords, the new Zords, which is fine. But maybe some of the stuff from part 2 could have been moved into part 3.
I agree with that. It could have been. They didn't know
Shifted
how
around.
to. But in part 3, we
them.
do get a dramatic moment where Prentice Head and Lord Zed is like, fuck it. I'm just going to make a big earthquake and swallow the Zords. He doesn't say that, but we see it. Show don't tell.
Yeah.
And he swallowed the Zords into the earth and we're melted. And all hope seems lost, but good old Zordons managed to salvage enough of the Zords.
The Megazords combine when they fall into lava. We saw that in the 2017 movie.
But I don't like that film.
That's how they combine.
I don't like that film, so I've decanonised it. Well, it's not canon anyway. I didn't like it. I prefer the 1995 one. Sorry.
But Billy dies.
Why don't you phone the Power Rangers, please, and have a word with them about it? Because I don't like the 2017 Power Rangers film. Not much, anyway. I think the Zords are stupid. I think everyone in it's a miserable asshole.
That's really mean. You should apologise.
It's too relatable.
Dacre and Montgomery.
Too relatable. If I wanted to see a miserable asshole, I'd look in the mirror.
Apologise to Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, he's always good in everything. In fact, if he was shit in something, I'd still think he was good in it because he's just good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, come back! They're gone. I can't believe this is happening.
Zords get swallowed into the earth, but Zordon manages to salvage enough of them to build new Zords.
How?
Whatever. I don't know what that means. Is it the energy or the physical bits of it?
Yeah.
Because that involves a construction project and
This is the
immense
parts
construction.
remaining, but like, how did they retrieve them?
Teleportation. The morphing grid did it.
Yeah. Okay.
The
Cool.
morphing grid did it.
That's okay.
So that's pretty much it. That is the episode.
Yeah. They get the Thunder Zords. The Thunder Zords fight the Practice Head.
Yeah.
They never appear on screen together.
No.
There's a shot of Practice Head hitting the Thunder Zords with a power, but the Thunder Zord looks like the regular Megazord.
Yeah.
But you can't see it too much because there's explosions.
Yeah.
But that's how they cut around that. Because I think the plan was originally that they were going to keep using the regular Megazords for a little bit.
It's a blade. Yeah.
Because they paid Toei to film that stuff.
Yeah. At the end, we've got this change that is entirely superficial. But it seemed like a big... For what we were used to as kids and watching TV shows, it was a big deal for us to see the core... The icons of the show be removed and changed.
Yeah.
That was unprecedented.
No, you change the villain. You've given the putties a new look and you got new Zords.
Status quo is the same. I mean, Lord Zed's just a new Rita. The Zords are just different shapes.
Lord Zed could have at least brought a new minion along with him, but he didn't. He didn't bring a new minion.
But it was significant, and it was a point where... Then I think like the expectations of Power Rangers were raised from then, and I think the writers of the show knew that. Because then we went into the White Ranger... Was it 4-parter or whatever, and then...
That's like a lot later. That's like 10, 15 episodes in.
Yeah. I mean, that's and then throughout the season, then the end of that season, they upped the stakes compared to the end of season 1 or beginning of season 2 and had them literally just destroy the Zords, like them get blown up.
The thing is, I know why they...
effects sequence.
Apparently they did try to get Machiko Soga to come to the US to film it. That's what I've read, but Ranger Wiki is not a reliable source of information at all. A lot of conjecture goes on there.
There's a lot of bitterness. I've noticed bitterness.
They got someone else. Yeah, they got someone else to play her for a couple of the scenes, and you see they shooting around her face a little bit. Although there's some shots where
she's just on the edge of the screen. There's a couple of bits when you can see plainly it's a different.
Yeah, it's just far enough away. But it's the woman who plays her later on in the series, not the one from the film. I can't remember the names. But yeah, the reason for that really is that there wasn't. Die Ranger has a set of 3 main villains, and there is one big bad villain above him. but the big bad villain above them barely ever appears in the show.
Yeah.
So they couldn't really use footage of him, although they do use the costume later in Wild Force. But the 3 main villains are just 3 Japanese people wearing what can be like generously called bondage gear. It is pretty much leather, spikes, rubber, all sorts. But they couldn't use them on the kids' show because they're all Japanese actors and would have had to dub them over and stuff like that, and it would have been awkward. Because they tend to avoid using the Japanese actors in footage. I think Rita Repulsa was literally just a case of that's what they thought they should do, and by the end of that first year, they were like, we shouldn't dub over the Japanese actors.
Obvious.
Especially when the show's successful, because then loads of eyes are on them, and people are noticing the shoddy moments. But it makes sense to have Lord Zed. So it is. I think if they did actually adapt Die Ranger fully and give them the very obviously Chinese influenced costumes and all that, which would have been weird, you still would have had the problem with the villains.
Yeah.
So they may as well stick to this. It's not as... This series, I think, does it a lot better than Series 3 does. Series 3 does a hell of a lot of American shot footage for the fight sequences, and they're actually genuinely good.
Yeah, they are, The actual action sequence that was American shot in this series was
but
very
the amount
good as
of
well.
footage they actually use from Kaku Ranger in Series 3 is minimal. This series is like... God, it's like... I think out of the 3 Mighty Morphin series, this series has the least Super Sentai footage used. But it's all about economics and stuff. They didn't want to lose the costumes. I'm surprised they didn't upgrade the costumes or anything. Like, didn't do any change to them or anything. Especially because they're going to have to reshoot a whole bunch of stuff. They might as well change the costumes. Because none of the fights with the monsters can be footage from Die Ranger unless it's just the monster in shot its own. It has to all be reshot. But yeah, I think they did a thing where whenever they were fighting out of costume in Die Ranger, they had the Rangers wearing very similar costumes, so they could cut in a shot here and there.
Okay.
Which they did a lot of.
There's a whole thing that I need to look into. Actually, it's interesting. I've not thought about it like that.
You should watch
the logistics of it.
Yeah, it is crazy. It's like such an insane.
They're the best robots they ever had. Was the Chinese-inspired Die Ranger robots.
In Die Ranger, they don't appear for like 7 or so episodes, which is why I think they intended to use the regular Megazords for the first part of it.
All right, okay.
Because in Die Ranger, the red Dragon Zord turns up in the first episode, whatever it's called in.
We watched that, didn't we?
Yeah. It turns up at the very end of the first episode. Then the second episode starts with them killing the monster from the first episode. Then a whole other episode starts, but they don't get the rest of the beasts. Until episode 5 or 6, they go on a quest to China.
Sentai's got that habit, hasn't it? It's a slow. They like to build up slowly,
Sometimes.
like bring the pieces one at a time. Well, from what I've seen, anyway.
Depends on the series. Some series just start off with a bang and they go straight in right from the start. But like some of the shows actually do gradually build stuff up over time, which is nice. Like Zenkaija, they don't form the full team until episode 4. The first episode only has the lead Zenkaiser, and the red.
I'm going to ask back, have we seen that?
No,
have I seen it?
You can watch an episode of it if you want.
We can do it. Oh, speaking of which, check out the other videos we're doing this weekend.
Yeah, we watched Kamen Rider Stronger. We watched some Zoo Ranger.
But yeah, I'm up for Zenki.
It's one of the new ones. We should get at least one new one.
I'm up for anything.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
And it's possibly my favourite Sentai right now.
Sweet.
Next to Kyuja. But no, this Power Rangers one, it's a good 3-parter. It's a good way to start a series with a statement.
Yeah, it was good, and it did things really well in terms of building up stakes and teasing, and things tend to get bigger and bigger as it went along, and then it kind of fell apart at the end. But
I think next time we do one of these about Power Rangers, we should do Green with Evil. Because I would argue, although maybe we should save that until after we've...
That wasn't a big... Was that a 5-parter?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, but do we save that until after we've watched the Zoo Ranger equivalent?
I don't mind.
The Barai arc.
You're the professional here. You.
Well, I'm thinking compare and contrast the two arcs.
Yeah.
We could do a discussion.
Watch them side by side. Yeah.
Where you've seen the Barai arc, and we've both seen the Green with Evil arc. Because I would argue, I'm just going to controversial opinion, that'll upset people. I think the Green with Evil arc is a lot better than the Barai arc. But
I haven't seen the Barai arc.
You haven't yet, no.
Oh, I thought you just said you've seen it, and I went. Yeah,
we'll get to it in a few months.
Man, I've seen that.
But I say when you've seen it.
Yeah, sorry. That sounds good, actually. Yeah, we'll do a compare and contrast.
That'll be a while off.
Because we've got another lockdown coming, a 5th, 6th wave now. That's going to happen. So maybe we can do some more remote stuff anyway. But yeah, all in all, it's an interesting 3-parter. There's lots of mistakes and goofs, and it's silly. But it was just it felt significant for the time.
Yeah,
I watched
that
it as a
race
TV
goes on
show.
for the whole episode. That ATV quad race that they start.
Yeah.
I want to know what period of time passed.
Yeah, you need to. They should have more on their minds.
Did they go
really,
around the entire desert region?
Yeah, it's like, guys, there's megaphone. There's some shit happening on the moon.
Yeah.
And we know there's been stuff coming from the moon and blowing up cities, so we should probably call this off and go home.
Did this race go on for was this like a Baja rally where it goes on for days?
Yeah, because at least, I mean, considering it to build a box, I don't know. We'll have to do a timeline of it and figure it out. Maybe
days and weeks.
Maybe it was just the duration of the episode. It was in real time.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, it could have been in real time. I don't know.
They built that box thing and Lord Zed took over and
it's all changed within an hour. It was an hour.
It's not even an hour. Yeah, it's about an hour.
20 minutes an episode, so 1 hour. Within 1 hour, it's all over.
Yeah, not counting intros.
Yeah, that'd be funny actually. Maybe do it in real time.
But no, it's a solid thing, and like you said, Bulk and Skull, they have their moments. They're completely perfunctory to the episode. The only thing that comes from it is they make their statement that they're going to start finding out who the Power Rangers are. Yeah, because that's not in season 1, but they've got that as their goal in season 2. And this begins the actual proper first stage of the Bulk and Skull arc, which I argue is a good arc, because they go from being the school bullies to having a goal to becoming law enforcement officers, and then gradually they become good guys. And by the end, when you get to Power Rangers in space, they're the ones who lead the regular citizens of Earth against the villains.
Okay, I need to stop. I need to do it. Yeah, I need to watch it all.
Yeah,
properly.
You should watch it in space.
Because every time we have these chats and meet up, which has been a long time, I always say I'm going to do my homework before, but
no. But anyway,
sorry.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers: The Mutiny, season 2 of Power Rangers, which is a good start to a series. Great opener.
Yeah. And hopefully this is a good way of doing a Yoppareview, and hopefully it works. It doesn't matter if not, because you're not going to see this very often anyway.
No, we only get together once or twice a year, don't we? So yeah.
And even less now. There's a big plague ravaging the planet. In fact, by the time this goes out, we might be the only 2 left.
Yeah. In
fact, we might be now. Have you looked outside lately?
Yeah. But that means our views will be able to get 100% of the life on Earth.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Got to watch it. So done, yeah.
Swings and roundabouts.
2 views will be the most views that could be possible on YouTube. Yay! Sorry, you're all dead. You won't be dead. COVID's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Get vaxxed, kids. Yeah, the Power Rangers say get vaxxed.
Yeah. I've been jabbed to fuck. I'm feeling awesome because of it. Feel invincible.
Yeah, we should test that out. Do you want to jump off the window?
Yeah, definitely. That's what jab's for, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've had me jabs. I can do what I want.
Catch you later, I guess.
Cheerio,
like, comment, subscribe. Ring the bell.
Ring his bell.
Yeah, ring my bell. Bye.
Sweet.
Your spineless, sniveling attitude leads me to believe you will serve me well.
Yes.